Hello, my name is CJ Wade, and today I'm going to be talking about the PTOs and kind of the history and the general applications of them. Uh, so, with the history, they started out as flat belt types for stationary engines, such as steam engines, things that were stationary and could be ran off a belt. But then once they were actually used on rotary engines or tractors and whatnot, they were actually almost attached to the wheel just to spin. And then they were used by the IHC, which is the International Harvester Company, which was the first to market a PTO for production back in 1918. And from there, they put it on one of their first PTO equipped tractors, which they did a Nebraska tractor test on. And it actually came out to be a competitive advantage for them, which actually caught on from other companies to start making and producing their PTOs for tractors as well. So from there, inside the transmission, they kind of ran off the actual gears being driven, and then in the PTO there's going to be an actual there's a drive gear that it runs off of, and then it runs off of the actual driven. And then from there, it depends on whether it runs independently or if it's ran off of ground speed. Some of them actually had to be in gear to run, but then some of them were controlled as like live PTOs, which they were actually ran like independently of the tractor, so that the actual load from the PTO required the tractor to stop or slow down to catch up. But that also means that it allowed things to stay parked for like actual like movement application of unloading things, or in our case you use a selector switch or a push button switch, and that way you can operate your hydraulics that way, or just depending on what you're moving from there. Kind of like an example or like an instance of something like this that could happen is like, for instance, let's say someone's riding on the side of a tractor, and let's say they happen to slip on that side, or kind of like hang one of their loose legs or something. Like, let's say they have some jeans going, it could potentially kill or even hurt them significantly, because of the fact that it could snatch you up, and then when you're caught in that shaft with your clothes and you're trying to pull, and it's moving at like 560, 1000 RPMs, and so at that speed it could definitely cause some major harm. And so really it's all about safety concerns and kind of noticing where you put yourself in positions. Also, it could be potentially dangerous when you're using it and it gives out when you're unloading something or lifting something up, and if that was to fail, then things could be detrimental for that as well. So, all right, my name's CJ Wade, and thank you for listening. So, appreciate it. So, to continue from what I was saying earlier about some of the PTOs, some of the safety concerns for them, they're known to be some of the most hazardous things on the actual like machinery themselves, due to how like easily it is to get things caught up in them. The actual input and the drive line and all that, it can actually get your clothes and yank you up in them, and then from there cause a whole bunch of issues.